What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my good friend over there, Brian, discuss comics that have been adapted into movies and streaming shows. So, guys, a couple weeks ago, right after the finale of Invincible Season 4, Episode 8, we did our recording. We were all set. We actually got more views for Invincible Season 4 than we have for a lot of things. We had a good discussion, and then I accidentally hit record again and essentially erased our review. So Brian and I are going back and doing a reshoot of our review. Brian, after watching the show, that episode a second time, is there anything that you're like, yeah, I really need to talk about this, since this is like one of the main points of this episode?
Yeah. So the bottom line here is that this is a show I didn't really care about. I would be like, yeah, whatever. We didn't do it. We'll skip it. We don't have to revisit it. But I love Invincible.
Yes.
I love this season. I love this finale. So I really want to talk about all of it all over again.
Nice. Okay. It's funny because I think that Invincible is my favorite thing that we talk about on this channel. We've had this channel for like 5 years. And I think Invincible is my favorite thing that we talk about.
It's been consistently up there. I'm not sure if it's like the top thing. I'm not 100% sure, because there's a bunch of things that I really liked. I loved X-Men 97. I loved Andor. I'm sure there's some movies that I loved as well that I'm not thinking off the top of my head. But it's a very consistent show. I think the show does an excellent job of adapting and improving on choices they made. They only do kind of like little tweaks here and there, usually just changing sequence on things. But I think it's an excellent show that I'm continually disappointed that I didn't read while it was like active. Like I read the entire series after the show came out, which was years after the comic ended. So
yeah, but you're all caught up with the comic now. And there's one thing that happened in between our recordings too, or our re-recording of this one, is that we got to watch an interview with Robert Kirkman, the guy who created Invincible. Yes. Can't remember the name of that podcast, but I feel like
the Escape Pod.
Yes, very good. That's actually a beautiful title for a fucking podcast too.
It is, yeah, because they even say it like it's they're just talking about things that because they know people like to escape from the real world. We mentioned that a lot here.
We literally just said that we were talking about reality before recording. Yeah, we're like, let's escape to Invincible world.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Robert Kirkman being on that show it was great because he talked about the difference between the seasons, and he talked about how this was his favorite season so far, but he was worried that it might be recency bias too.
I always had that too, but I think this was one of the best arcs in the comic, and I do really like this season. I will always have trouble putting any scene or season or episode up against that singular moment in season 1 with the Omni-Man and Invincible fight. That was like the greatest thing.
Right.
Still, but there are so many things that happened in this season that can come close to that, if not maybe even equal it. I don't know. But this is kind of like a post climax episode. This is Mark, Omni-Man, and Tech Jacket all come back to Earth. They assume that the Viltrumites have come and destroyed the planet in revenge for them destroying their Viltrum. But no, that's not the case. But the show opens with, or maybe not opens with, very early on in the show is like a scene where they do come out and they do destroy the planet, but it turns out it's not true. And that's kind of like a recurring theme throughout the entire episode is Mark is going around and checking up all the people he cares about, and every single time that he has a vision of Thrag just horribly murdering them. And it's literally everyone. And then at that point, at some point that he's actually going to show up. He's actually going to be there, and it's not going to be a delusion or whatever you want to call it, hallucination. But you weren't exactly sure where it's going to be, even having read the comic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That sequence when the Viltrumites are on Earth in the very beginning is really disturbing. And I feel like they've kind of used the same music throughout the whole season to kind of like to be a theme for Viltrumite violence and death. You know, one of my favorite parts of this entire season was when they showed that montage of the Great Plague that wiped out the Viltrumites, and just their choice of music during that sequence was so great. It made you feel something, just the combination of the images and the music, where, you know, it wasn't like overly melodramatic and bleak. It was sort of like eerily cold. And that was the effect they had when the Viltrumites came to Earth in this sort of fake out in the beginning of this episode. Once again, it's just this eerily cold sequence where there's music playing, and the Viltrumites themselves, you know, they're not like angry looking and stuff when they fight. They just are very cold themselves, just wiping out humans left and right. You know, it's
humans that they think are beneath them. So yeah,
like really disturbing. I love that sequence, and I think that the fans in general have changed their tune on Thrad. What would you say based on what you saw on social media?
I certainly have. You know, after that first initial episode, maybe you just take a little warming up. I don't know, but yeah, after episode 7 and this episode, even you know, even just seeing him without him actually being there and actually not actually saying anything, it just improves his standing as a threat, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I think one of my favorite things in comics is when a flying character is just standing in the sky versus like flying around or hovering up and down, like when they're just standing there. That's when he finally shows up at the very end. But we have a few things to discuss before we get to that last scene, which we'll talk about in detail. So when Mark comes back, first of all, it's like they've been just like utterly ravaged by the Viltrumites. Like the dad, Nolan, it looked like he might have died in the previous episode, and then he's recovering in this episode. They still haven't even showed his brother at all after what he experienced. And then,
yes, they did. They showed him. They
showed
him. Yeah, they showed him in like that tube thing. Maybe it was the end of the last episode, or maybe this one.
Okay.
They do show it before they leave. He's in there. They show him with the replaced jaw and the replaced arm, and he's kind of like in like a Luke Skywalker back to tank.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm misremembering that. Yeah, but like he, you know, like Mark himself, his head was like getting crushed by Thrag in the previous episode, and then they're on their way. They get back to Earth, and he's just going through all this PTSD. He's just having these flashbacks, or not flashbacks, but like these images of the Viltrumites destroying the world. And you know, Mark, just in general as a character, has suffered both physical, like utter like devastation, and then he's been in situations that are just like situations that would just break a person, you know. And I think that they do a really, really great job in this episode showing how utterly like just broken he is by all this.
Yeah, just imagine any hardship you've gone through your life, and imagine on that kind of a scale and what that would do to you, you know?
Yeah. Imagine like an old man who's buff just sliding your intestines slowly out of your body.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice little spaghetti dinner out of your insides.
Right. So he returns to Eve, and you know, Eve has gained some weight, which I hate the fucking world, man. I hate like the fucking internet. I hate like people like talking about Eve's weight and how Eve looks sexier in the comics and all that shit. It's so fucking stupid. You know.
Wait. They said the higher weight Eve was sexier, or the same.
Some people did, which I was like, yeah, cool. That's cool. That's kind of counter to what you see, but no. Like they were making it like Eve is like sexier in the comics in general.
Oh, in
like,
general, yeah. I mean, I think that's just an art style choice or anything like that. I don't really think about that. I did really appreciate that in the comics. Mark was like, I kind of like it.
yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, I like more curvaceous ladies than skinnier ladies anyway, but we do not need to go into that. But
well, there's the one aspect of it though. But continue.
Well, there's the revelation that
Oh,
she
yeah.
was pregnant, Mark was gone, she had to make a choice, and she chose to get an abortion, right? And I kind of knew that would have repercussions on social media as well, but I think it was handled very well in this episode.
I think it was too. It's a difficult decision. She's alone and not sure what's going to happen. Yeah, it's a tough call to be in that situation in any situation.
Yeah,
Now to make slight light of this, my favorite thing was is a really dark meme I saw where it says that even though she didn't take part of the Viltrumite War, she still had a higher body count than Oliver.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, I saw a similar joke, which was like the only kill in the last episode of the season was by Eve. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, people are dark, man. But I mean, the key thing to take away from this is the way that Mark responds to it. He's
Yes.
mad at himself for not being there. There's no bullshit where he turns to her and goes like, "How could you do this? You got an abort." There's nothing like that. He feels guilty.
Well.
Yeah.
Held very
Like
well.
a man.
Very, very adult-like. Yes.
Exactly. So now that we've talked about abortion, we can keep talking about the rest of the episode. There's great sequences with like Nolan and especially with Nolan and Mark's mom, where like she makes the decision to go to space to go see Oliver versus sort of like always being this passive sideline human on Earth. She's like, no, I'm going to go into space as well. And I just really like that sequence. This is what we talked about in our first recording of this. I just really like the sequence of her having to go up to the ship, the Enterprise type ship, to go fly off into space, and he's like gonna fly her up, and she's like really reluctant to do so. I really liked when they were looking at the view of Earth from space too.
Yeah, I did. That's kind of like the signal to what's to come there, because that's the last we see of them for the episode. But I really like the scene that kind of spurred on her choices as well with Paul, where he says is like, you may not think it, but you're a part of this like alien civilization war fighting kind of thing, whether you like it or not. So, and that's just kind of not my world. And that's kind of why they split up in like that, and it kind of leaves the door open for some reconciliation, I suppose.
Yeah, good. I'm sorry,
but yeah, no, I just liked how that was described and handled. They did a really great job with Paul. Like, he was barely in anything in the comic, and he did not have the kind of impact, but he was just like a good, likable dude. I liked how they did that.
Yeah. He's a human, doesn't have any powers. He's not like secretly evil or anything like that. He's just a good human that, like, instead of causing problems, what the fuck is the mom's name? Why can't I think of it right now? I'm sorry, one more time?
Debbie.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. Like, he doesn't make Debbie's life harder. He's like just basically what he said, you're part of this world, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't see examples of that in stories in general. So he's refreshing. And I still think about that a scene in this season where they show Mark and Oliver and Debbie and him having dinner, and it's like kind of sped up, but it's like a whole dinner sequence. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole season.
Yeah, no, yeah, right before they went to leave to go wherever they're going into space. Yeah, that was a great sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about the Nolan part. I don't think when we did our recording last time, did we talk about the post credit or like the thing that happened in the credits with Alan?
I think we did. But before we get to that, let's just finish. So I think one of the things you talked about last time actually was you really enjoyed the conversation between Nolan and Cecil, because which took place at this site in Chicago where the initial destruction happened.
Yeah. That was fucking great. One of the best things about watching the Escape Pod was that they love Cecil so much on that channel.
Yes.
And they even did this thing where like they had to hold up these signs that said agree or disagree, and they were like, Cecil has only made one mistake, I think, and everyone was like, agree. Like, everyone thinks that Cecil makes the right choices, even though Mark definitely would not necessarily think that.
Yeah, and did they talk about what the wrong choice was? They thought. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what it was.
Um, was letting Conquest live, right?
Yeah, or not, or yeah. I think essentially we boiled down to Conquest. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like every other choice he's made has been the right choice? Like having those reanimated soldiers and I mean, he's let a couple of villains live that, you know.
Yeah, they gave us that whole kind of redemption like side story, and then I think which I think they expanded on a bit from the comic, along with his origin, and there was those two. Were they like snake here? No, they weren't snake people. There was like these two criminals that he interacted with, and then they got rehabilitated. They were working for him, and then Mark like kills them or something.
Right.
But that was last season, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that wasn't in the comic at all, right?
There was, I think there was some brief origin for Cecil, but
Okay.
if 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 it wasn't as much as that, I believe.
Okay, yeah. Well, like he's I mean, he might be my favorite character on the show, but I mean, I really love Mark. I love Nolan. One of the best things that they mentioned on the show was that they were going to have um, J.K. Simmons be Cecil instead,
Oh, yeah,
and then
can't hear it.
it's just like Walton Goggins as Cecil, J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man. That's the way it works. That's the right way.
I
You know,
I can't hear those characters any other way.
right, exactly. And like J.K. Simmons would have done a great job as Cecil, but he would not have made it this like perfect matchup the way it is with Walton Goggins.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody would have been better for Omni-Man.
No fucking way. Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah. So I mean, the point I made last time we did this recording was that Nolan is sort of, showing his remorse. He's talking about like, trying to make up for what he did. And then Cecil essentially drops the number amount of all the people that died in that battle in Chicago. Kind of like, you saved a life or whatever. Now you need to save like 2,000 something more.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
That was rough. And then before we get to the post credit scene, we did go a little more detail into the conversation that Mark and Thrag have. And
well, I was saying the Vulturmite thing for like the last part. Oh, okay. That's kind of more exciting.
Sure. So we can do the post credit scene. So yeah, Alan is leading the coalition now, and he gets a final message from Thetis from Beyond the Grave, which basically is just telling him about the scourge virus that he's perfected. It's in the basement, and that how it will, if he chooses to use it, it may also affect races that are similar to the Viltrumites, like humans, like Mark. So, right. And then I love the last like line or two where it says like the Viltrumite must be a race resistance no matter the cost, which is such an Optimus Prime, which is an Optimus Prime line, but
right,
it's not. That's not the. He sounds more like the movie Optimus Prime than the cartoon Optimus Prime there.
Which I fucking hate movie Optimus Prime so much, where there's lines where he's just saying to humans, "I'll kill you," I'll take your face.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like I so appreciate that. I appreciate those movies for several reasons, because it kind of saved the franchise in a way and got it relevant for a little while at least.
Right.
And, I appreciate the kind of technical marvel that it is, but man, did they just do a hit job on pretty much every character, every robot character.
Yep. Especially the Decepticons. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I know. But like, it's great to hear Peter call him one last time. And of course, he's got this sort of sinister plan. In his mind, it's the right thing to do, but like, it's very dangerous for our main characters. The Viltrumites themselves, we find out, have infiltrated Earth. So Mark, he goes and like he's flying. Eve tells him that he should fly just to feel better. It's a great sequence of Mark flying through the air. He's got his old costume back.
Oh, he's not in the costume.
Right, but I he has it back by that point though.
Yes.
And then when he's flying around, he sees Thrag in the sky, and he's like trying to shake himself out of it. He's like, oh, I know that this is a delusion or whatever. But then he goes up to Thrag and hits him, and he's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me about that scene again.
Yeah, we all knew it was coming. But again, this scene just kind of like elevated Thrag there. Just the kind of cold calmness that he has over this. Like he's like, I'm here, and I'm not gonna do anything here. But you have to kind of agree to my terms. And he really gives Mark an offer he can't refuse, because it's either allow the Viltrumites to infiltrate Earth and repopulate their race, or they'll just destroy everything.
Right.
There's nothing they can do about it. Even I think Nolan was gone already, but probably not far. But even if he wasn't, like, the Earth wouldn't stand a chance against 37 Viltrumites.
Right. I was kind of surprised at how many were still alive too. Like when they said the number.
Yeah, I mean they don't show all of them in the battle. Probably for budget reasons, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like just that number, nothing on Earth is stopping that.
No. And then the sequence of them infiltrating Earth, that's kind of been one of the most memed sequences of the show, where they show the various Viltrumites, infiltrating Earth and like taking on new roles. I've seen a picture of that one Viltrumite that looks like Steve Harvey,
Luke,
like the comic.
I think he actually was designed to look like Steve Harvey.
Okay. Okay, well then that makes sense, and people really ran with that. They showed a couple of the one Viltrumite woman. I'm sorry that I just have no concept of names today.
Anissa,
yeah. And basically, like, she's showing her disdain for human men, which of course the human men are attracted to her. And then the one that is my favorite that a lot of people love is, insert name here, Brian.
Biker Krieg.
Thank you, Krieg. Yeah. And I saw a fucking post where someone was saying that that's the girlfriend of like the Flash guy. You saw that too?
No. Somebody said it's somebody that works at the for Cecil. That's what somebody said.
Oh,
so I thought that was it.
Yeah, because the girl looks a lot like the girlfriend of the Flash character guy.
Oh yeah, that's possible. I think she was a little older, maybe, but no, I saw a screenshot of it. It's like somebody that works at the is it GDP, GP, whatever the organization is. I'll find it and send it to you, but we obviously can't show it here now. But
right,
again, it's probably not that. Anyway, it's probably just someone, because there are plenty of memes how young Rex looks exactly like Oliver with different hair and skin, and a lot of the faces are the same. I also saw a funny meme that was that showed Eve sitting next to Amber, and they showed a comic version and what they showed the show version and then what the comic version would look like, and it was just Eve with blonde hair.
Oh shit! Oh my god, that is cool. I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
But you know what though? I sort of see it. I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, I watched fucking Dragon Ball Z. Literally everyone has the same face,
Right. You could just, if you change their hair, it becomes Goku.
Yeah. Man, woman, doesn't matter. They have the same face.
Right. Exactly. No, I know. I just love the fact though that there are so many memes of this show, that people are talking about it, because it's an excellent show. It's an excellent comic. They brought up The Walking Dead on Escape Pod when they were talking to Robert Kirkman, but I was done with The Walking Dead a really long time ago, and I still think fondly of the Invincible comic, and I love the Invincible show.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I know like the Walking Dead went really off the rails. I stopped around the same time most people stopped. When Negan first arrived, but for different reasons than most people, because technically that's what happened in the comic,
Right.
But yeah, I hope this show kind of sticks the landing, stays true to the story or improves it and makes it better. It doesn't go too far away from it, which also gives me hope for the eventual Energon Universe cartoon.
Oh my God! Yes, yes, that'll be a great time to have this channel to talk
Yeah,
about that.
If not anything else, like that'll keep me doing this until that happens because I need to do that. I need to cover that. Oh.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about Invincible season 4?
No, just hope they keep that gap short, you know.
Yes.
Give it back to us in early 2027, please.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, so we're going to end this recording. We're going to switch over and do a recording of the last two episodes of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So if you guys like this recording, go over and check that out after you give this a like, and that you can subscribe as well. Brian, I am very carefully pressing end on this and not hitting the record button accidentally. So
please.
Yeah, there you go.
The third time if I have to.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Well, then we will see you guys next